There's an incredible variety of vintage dive watches out there. Some are very expensive, some not so expensive, but the quality really does run the gamut. Today we're going to take a look at a vintage dive watch that is not only good looking, it's well made. It's from a brand that is owned by Bulova, Caravelle, and we're talking about the Sea Hunter. This is a really good looking hand wound vintage dive watch, and I have one hands on to show you guys. So let's flip the camera and take a look at a Caravelle Sea Hunter. So it's been a little while since I've done an affordable vintage video. Today I have a really cool watch to show you guys. This is a Caravelle Sea Hunter, and you can see it's a really cool 666 dial dive watch from Caravelle. Caravelle were a sub-brand, or are a sub-brand of Bulova, a little less high-end than Bulova, which I wouldn't really call a high-end brand, but back then they were a little bit more upmarket, I would say. And this was a really nicely made dive watch. It has a Citizen hand-wound movement inside. They made different versions of this. Eventually they would make automatic versions. There were quartz versions as well. I think that these are some of the more desirable versions of the Sea Hunter. This is a really nicely sized watch. This comes in at around 37 millimeters. I'll do measurements really quickly so you can see what I'm talking about. However, it's almost a modern sized dive watch. I believe these come in at 37 millimeters, basically spot on. At almost 37 millimeters. Thickness on these, because they are hand wound, not very thick, 11.4 millimeters. You have a nice crown on here. This has the original crown signed with the C. This is 5.5 millimeters, and then the lug to lug makes this a very wearable watch. 44.2 millimeters. So even if you have a very small wrist, this is going to be very wearable. And if you have a large wrist, this will not look ridiculous on you. It will fit you pretty well. It gets a bi-directional friction fitted bezel, and this one feels almost like it's brand new, like it's almost never been used. It's not even been broken in. You have a really high acrylic crystal on here. It's a boxed acrylic crystal, really looks vintage. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Bulova or Caravelle, on the back of the watch there's always a letter and a number that gives you the idea of when this actually was made. So this has an N and a 0, so that's 1970. So the N corresponds to the 70s, M is obviously the 60s, and so on. So it's really easy to actually date a vintage Bulova because it'll actually tell you right on the back of the watch. Same thing goes for Caravelle. Now inside here, as I mentioned, I will do a a close-up picture of the movement if I can. It is a Citizen hand-wound movement. I don't remember the exact number, but it's actually not a bad-looking little movement. It sort of reminds me of what you would get from an Etta product back in the day, back in the 1970s. It doesn't hack. I think that's probably the biggest drawback of this movement, but back in the day, again, this is pretty much expected. I really love about this watch, one of the things I really love about it, and the reason why I wanted to own one of these, is because of the 12, 9, 6, and 3 dial with no date. Now, Bulova used to put lots of dates on many of their watches. Same thing with Seiko and other brands. Citizen did the same thing. And I'm really glad that Caravelle did not put a date on this watch. I think it probably would have ruined the dial, and I think it looks phenomenal. You get these baton hands on here. There's a little bit of discoloration on those, and a white lollipop second hand, and then hashes for the non-primary indices. That's really it. So this watch is a watch that I actually purchased off of Whatnot, and I got a phenomenal price on this. I paid $47 for it in this condition. All I did was clean it up and throw it on a black leather strap. That is all I did, and it's in this condition, and I am really excited about this. These go for a lot more money on eBay. Sometimes you could see these selling for around $1,000. Usually sales are in that $500 to $1,000 range. In this condition, I would imagine it's closer to that $500 range because of the hands, because there is a little bit of the loom missing on the left side of the dial. I don't know what really happened there, but it is missing. Some of the minute track is actually missing. It's not all the loom, but there you go. Other than that, it's in really good condition. The case itself in excellent condition. The case back looks almost brand new. There's a little bit of scratching on it, but not that much. And then of course you have the original crown. The bezel looks almost original and almost untouched. And then there is a little bit of hazing on the acrylic crystal, which I could get out with a Cape Cod cloth or with a little bit of polywatch, and it would look brand new. Anyway, very quickly, let me throw it on my wrist, and then we will do a quick loom shot. Usually loom shots with a vintage watch, not so good. But today we have the Longines Ultra Chron on. This thing is amazing. I am really smitten with this watch. I wish it was on the bracelet. This was lent into the channel by exquisitetimepieces.com, but I wanted to see this on the bracelet. And I think if I were to buy this, it would be on the bracelet. I'm not a huge fan of the strap. It's a nice strap, but I think it would look better on a bracelet. It's very shiny because the entire case is essentially polished, but you also have this sapphire bezel insert, which looks phenomenal. Really beautiful dial on here. Everything about this watch I really like. It's a big watch. You know, I'm moving away from watches that are kind of large, but I do like the case. I like the case shape. I love the look of this watch. It looks great. Anyway, here is the Caravelle on my 7.5 inch wrist. So this came on an original Tropic rubber strap, and it actually is in pretty good condition. I'm going to clean that up and put it on the strap again. It was a little bit dirty, but that's really it. I mean, this watch was in pretty good condition considering its age from 1970. It's almost, 50 some odd years old. So really pretty damn cool. It looks like a vintage sub. If you took a quick look at it, you might mistake this for a Rolex product, maybe. But all in all, I think it's a really good looking watch, especially on this like tapering black leather strap with the white stitching. Very classic looking dive watch that's very affordable. Now, I definitely would look on Whatnot for these. This is the second one that I've actually purchased from Whatnot. The first one I purchased, I actually took apart, replaced the movement. So this is the movement that we were talking about earlier. I'll take a picture of this and give you guys a close-up look at it. This is a broken movement. I actually bought a working one and put it into another one. I sold that one and regret it. I actually resold it on Whatnot for around $300, which was actually less than $300, which was a great price. I only paid $20 for that one. It was in better condition, if you could believe that, physically better condition than this watch. The movement didn't work, so I replaced it. However, I replaced it with the exact same movement. Unfortunately, I did sell that. That was a bad move, and I will not sell this one. I think I will be keeping this one. I actually paid more for this one, but $20 was ridiculous. That was a ridiculous find on Whatnot. Definitely use the link down below. When you do, you get $10 credit towards your first purchase. That's half the price or a quarter of the price of this watch, half the price of the original Caravelle Sea Hunter that I bought, which I am kicking myself for selling. Anyway, very quick, a loom shot, and then we'll wrap up the video. Well, there you go. You can see the loom fades very quickly, but all of the indices are loomed. The hands are loomed. Even the lollipop is loomed on the second hand, but it fades very quickly. I put the Longines here as well so you could see the loom on here. I really love the loom on this watch. It's one of the better loom shots that I have seen from a Swatch Group product. They actually loomed those primary indices. Those are little blocks of loom, and then you have loom on the bezel itself within that sapphire. That's pretty rare for the Swatch Group, and I really do like that. Anyway, so there you go, the Sea Hunter from Caravelle, a really great find that I got on Whatnot. Definitely check out Whatnot if you are interested in vintage watches. They have a lot of vintage watch auctions going on there right now, and if you are interested in vintage watches, there's really some really great deals coming out of Whatnot, and you can see here is one, this Caravelle. What a great deal I got. $47 is a phenomenal price, and it's something that obviously I will not sell, but if I did, I wanted to, I could probably make a good amount of money on this one, but I will probably just end up keeping it because I am a big fan. Anyway, tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Whatnot and a few other affiliates. If you click any of those links, it helps me out. However, it does not cost you anything extra. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.